Oh, I love all the new reactions.
There we go.
All right.
Okay.
Ah,
Aha.
Did that work?
Yep.
yeah, a lot of handsome dudes on there. No dudettes? Oh, there's a couple of dudettes.
Yeah,
Yeah, lots of women.
okay, what I'm going to do is start, and if there had been more than 4 or 5 people, I would have asked everybody to mute their thing. But with so few, I'm not going to worry about it. You can be there. You can interrupt me whenever you want, just not for a long time. And could go for about 45 minutes, and then we'll do answers if there are questions. So this is a introduction. It's the beginning one. It's the very beginning. And get my mouse in the right spot. How do you start out finding your family tree, family history? Well, the easy way, of course, as Ricky said, is you ask yourself questions. And okay, I'm going to admit one more. Al? Not answering. Ask yourself questions. Ask your family questions, brothers, sisters, uncles, aunts, parents, if they're still around, and so forth. Make sure you record them, and I'm going to repeat that phrase throughout this whole thing. Make sure you record them, because, you know, you get to talking to somebody, and they give you all this information, and about a month later, you say, I wish I'd written that down. Write it down, do a audio recording, do something of that. Something that a lot of people don't think about is asking neighbors, family neighbors, of what they knew about your family. And you'd be surprised at the things that they will come up with, many of the things that your parents would never tell you. Your neighbors might.
Yeah.
Ask your classmates, of course, if you still have connections with any of those. And make sure you record them, okay? Got to go back over here. And some other places where you do research. That's from a yearbook, the photo, number 60 in the football uniform, most athletic, and that's me. You find all sorts of stuff like that. Matter of fact, who I thought was perhaps the best athlete at the high school I graduated from passed away a couple of weeks ago. He was a cousin of mine. You know, he was the quarterback on a football team and the shooting guard on the basketball team, got a scholarship, pitcher and best hitter on the baseball. Went on to race snowmobiles for Arctic Cat. Anything athletic, he just was a natural at. Family Bibles are always a good source of information. If you can find diaries of people, newspapers, and I'm going to show you a couple of sites that have newspapers online. They're kind of expensive, but you can go out and check them out, and that's a few slides down. County and Centennial books. Yeah, Mike.
Yeah, just I want to introduce myself to Al Frank. I'm not sure I know Al. Al, welcome to our group. Are you associated with people at the temple?
Well, yes, sort of distantly. I'm a friend of Rabbi Roman's.
Oh, wonderful.
Oh, cool.
I'm actually in Phoenix.
Ah.
Formerly from Michigan, and my brother still lives in Michigan now. And anyway, so that's the connection.
Well, welcome to our group. Yeah,
thank you.
We really like Rabbi Roman. We're glad that he decided to move down here.
Oh, I can imagine.
Yes. And I am sitting in northern Minnesota doing this presentation. The other three are in Green Valley area.
Ah, okay. I have a son who lives in Duluth.
Oh, other side of the state. All right, going on back, at least in this part of the country, a lot of the counties and cities are celebrating their 125th, 150th year of existence, and many of them do what they call centennial books, and they have the history of the county, history of the city, people histories in there, and you can find all sorts of interesting things. Then you'll notice again, I say record your findings, right? Newspaper obituaries, of course, are helpful. I will give a little caution. They aren't necessarily as accurate as they might be because they're written to make people feel good, look good, etc. And here are two obituaries that came out of my family. When Mrs. Gass, this would be my grandmother, came to America, another inhabitant that was most worthy to enjoy the blessings of liberty, an energetic toiler, etc., etc., etc. This was from back 1940s. They wrote a little differently back then. And another of my ancestors is a man of consistent life. I have no idea what consistent life means. Esteemed and by all that knew him, and the large attendance and so forth and so on. So these are interesting things. What we found in doing research is sometimes the dates are a little bit off because they're doing it from somebody else's memory, of course. Whoops. Newspapers, I said there's a spot you can do newspaper checking. There are two right there, newspapers.com. It's a paid subscription, $15 a month. If you want to do it, the recommendation I have is to get together all of the information that you want to try and find, get a 1 month, 2 month subscription, and just beat the heck out of it and get all you can. Another one,
Should we be seeing these on the screen?
only the slide.
I don't see anything except
No, we just got your family picture
All
there.
I see is introduction to genealogy.
Right.
Right.
Really? Why is that?
I'm with Roberta. That's all I see is the first screen.
Oh, I bet I'm sharing. No.
Are you sharing the screen or sharing the app?
I'm sharing the screen.
Because sometimes I've had that with other organizations, you've got to go into the app, the PowerPoint app.
I'm seeing it on my screen. Okay,
Well, we're not. We still have the original, the first one, introduction.
interesting. Let me see what I can do here.
When you share screen, don't you have options there? I would say unshare and try the other options.
I just
Unshared, okay.
not seeing it now, right?
No,
Just seeing the five of us.
Right, okay, I'm gonna try it again.
Is that Joyce?
Yeah, she's saying do start slideshow. There we go. Okay, that's it.
Is that better?
yes,
Yes,
no, we think
yes.
so. Go to the next screen. Oh, well, you can back up or go forward or
Back
something.
up a couple.
Okay,
Yeah,
yes.
it's working now.
Yeah, there you go, the newspaper.
All right, here we go.
Well, there are the ones that I just read for you. There are,
Right.
That's why you didn't laugh at my picture, I guess.
Oh, is that you on the right?
It is
Whose football outfit did you wear?
mine.
Oh,
And a little bit
Most athletic. Wow.
yeah, I know. What a hunk.
of real trivia there. The woman that's wiping my brow was my girlfriend for part of my junior year.
Mm.
That was a long time ago. Anyhow, I'm not going to read those again. I'm not going to read that again.
Okay.
Here you go. Newspaper archives. You're seeing that slide, right?
Yeah.
Oh, good.
To your point about that, Les, I took out newspapers.com, and maybe it was just a one-time thing, but I could use it for a short period of time at no cost. And then they came back and said, now you got to pay up for it. And the same thing with Ancestry. They had a 3-month thing that was
Yeah.
just very cheap, and I just finished that. I started that in May, and I just got off of it this week.
Yeah, nearly all of them have that intro 2-week, 1 month, whatever kind of thing. And both of those newspaper ones do. But to continue, those are the most recent prices that I found. The other thing is do some traveling and go visit places. A lot of counties have historical museums. There are several around here. And county courthouses. Most states have some kind of historical repository that you could go visit and find things. Cemeteries, you can find on tombstones normally the full name, date of birth, date of death, and those kinds of things. Public libraries are always good. The public libraries around here in Minnesota have subscriptions to Ancestry that people can go in there and use at no charge. And again, record your findings. A small town by the name of Argyle, it's about 100 miles north of here, has a couple of displays in there. The one on the left is the cash register and the butcher block from the gas butcher store that was owned by my grandparents.
Oh,
And the
He
one
was
on the
really
right,
right-handed.
I beg your pardon?
He was right-handed because the butcher block is worn out on the right-hand side.
Yeah.
Yes, you can definitely see that. And Mike, if you'd be interested in one on the right, the gas orchestra. I think there were 5 members, and they played for wedding dances and Saturday night dances and so forth. And those are at a historical museum in a small community called Argyle. From the courthouse, you can find records such as this. And by the way, I'm using my family, my ancestors, for all of these presentations because then I'm not violating anybody's privacy. And most of them, if not all of them, are already deceased, so it really doesn't matter. But when you do presentations with records, you got to be careful of that. Adolf Baki is my father's name, and this is an honorable discharge from the Army. He was in during World War I, if you can believe that. A long time ago.
yeah.
I love that he said he's 21 2/3 years old.
Right. That's the way they did things back then. Noticing. He was a farmer. I grew up on a farm.
Yeah.
And under my father, can you see the mouse?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Newfoundland, as it's written there, is incorrect. It's 1 word, not 2. But that doesn't really matter. He was a farmer. He was a farmer all his life. He also did road construction. But that was from the from the County Historical Society. In a visit to the Minnesota Historical Society in our capital, St. Paul, they have a book called The History of Army Artillery Park First Army, AEF France. And in the index, you'll see that Baki, that's my father's name, is listed in there. No pictures of anything, but at least I know how or what he went through when he went to Europe during World War I. Because if you find a story about someone who is in that particular situation as your relative, you can be pretty sure the experiences are quite similar. Okay. National website called castlegarden.org. I'll show you this one, Ellis Island, in a minute, but let me talk about Castle Garden first. They have online records. You can go out there and search it, castlegarden.org. They have records from 1820 till 1892 when Ellis Island took over. And it's the first immigration center, and it has lots of records. as does Ellis Island, which somehow is more famous, and I'm not sure why. They started when Castle Garden ceased to exist in 1892 and went up till 1954. So depending on when relatives came, from 1820 to 1954, it's a good possibility you could find ship records. Yeah, Mike?
Plus, Castle Garden was in the New York City area.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yep. Now, a lot of people immigrated to this country other than through New York, of course. Some came through Boston, some came through New Orleans. A significant number, including Bev's relatives, came through Canada. And they would not be in here, but hey, this is a place to look.
Ah,
That's a passenger list from one of the ships. Handwritten, of course, and not all that easy to read. This is from Castle Garden. You can also see the translated version. Okay, that's the handwritten, a little difficult to read. There is the information that somebody has taken the time to put the information there. August Gast is my great-grandfather, arrived in 1887. He was born about 1843. You can see that information. He is somewhat different than many of the immigrants that came to our part of the country, at least. Most of them came as single men and then either got married here or had a girlfriend or a woman back home that he would send money to and bring here. August Gast and his wife came with a family of, I believe it was 7 children.
Wow.
Which was a little different. Now, I'm going to point a couple of things out. It says their ethnicity, too. German, place of origin, German, okay? One would assume that they were German, right? Okay, remember this when we get to the DNA testing. It also shows the ship name. It departed first from Germany over to England and then departed Liverpool, England, and came to New York. It's also nice to be lucky, right? About 10 years ago, I got a letter from a distant cousin who lives in Oslo, Norway, and he sent me this kind of information, all right? From back in the 1200s in Norway. The really interesting thing about the whole thing is this bottom one. Inga Bjardsson was in Trøndelag, Norway, and his occupation was king.
Oh, his occupation was
you're a prince amongst us.
King of Norway from certain dates. Now, you got to remember, the people in Norway, the kings in Norway were kings because they were bigger, badder, meaner, stronger than anybody else around. And if their descendant son couldn't hold it, too bad, so sad. There was not royalty. It was more might. Also on online, you can find Citizenship Papers. This is the citizenship paper of the August Gast that I showed you a little bit ago when he arrived in New York. He was born in 1944, arrived at Poynter, New York in July, and those kinds of things. And he became a citizen, which was not uncommon. Most of them became citizens, at least in this part. Did you want to really read that, Ricky?
Well, what is that thing with stamped later that says 1995? Is that when somebody requested that document?
I believe that's when it was digitized.
Oh, okay.
I believe that's when it was, yes. But I wouldn't.
Oh, a correct copy of, it's got a smudge. All right.
Or it could have been when somebody got it. The Homestead Act of 1862 brought a lot of people to at least this part of the country. I don't know about other parts. And you could get 160 acres of land if you improved on it over the course of so many years. And my great-grandfather, August Gass, did that. And there's the copy of the homestead application that he got his land. Okay, I've been telling you all along that you got to record your findings, right? How do you record your findings? Well, there's the old-fashioned way. You can do paper recordings. Oh, by the way, and anybody that wants a copy of this whole slideshow, I'd be happy to send it to them, just so you know. You can do paper copies. Paper copies are the old-fashioned way. You can do digital copies, which I, as an IT person, always do. Some of the ways you digitize copies, a lot of people have smartphones now. It's got a camera on it. You go up, lay it on top of the document you want a picture of, take a picture, and there it is, you have it. What I have done in the past is take my laptop and portable scanner with me to different places, including relatives, and I've scanned all sorts of photos, documents, other things. And there's also a thing called optical character recognition software. If it's a printed document, the software now will translate that into an editable document. So you can edit it yourself in Microsoft Word or some other program. Make sure to back up all your findings, whether it's paper or digital, right? Now we're getting to some of the places where you want to go see things. These are free. I'll show you the expensive ones in a little while. The free online website, National Archives, run by in Washington, D.C., has a lot of research helpful hints. Not so much the data of the research, but how to find things in various places. The one I've found to be really kind of handy is this one called Find a Grave. And that is run by these two, Find a Grave and the GenWeb project. Both are run by volunteers. What the volunteers do is adopt a cemetery. They go out there, photograph tombstones, pictures of the cemetery and a variety of things, and then make them available for others to see. And I'm going to go to that website, so bear with me because I'm going to do a stop share. And then I'm going to go to share screen, and I want to get, I'm going to share my website, and
Ancestry.
You got Ancestry up.
I know what I have up, but I now have Find a Grave, right?
Find a grave, yeah.
Hey, cool, it made it. So
There
I
it is.
pre-populated information there. This is my father. He was born in 1896 in Minnesota. And what I'm going to do is a search. And I knew this was going to happen, that I'd find something, of course, because I'm a very, very bad presenter that just makes a wild guess and tries to find stuff. So it found Adolf Baki, April 15th, 1896 to 2nd of March, 79 in the Bethesda Cemetery, Marsh Grove Township, Marshall County, Minnesota, USA. If you click on this, you get a photo that someone has taken of the tombstone there with the information that he or she transcribed off the tombstone. And you can find a lot of different people's graves by doing this. It's really, really.
1896. Yeah. Also, Les, well, Billion Graves, how does that compare with Find a Grave?
Which what?
It's called billiongraves.com. Have you looked into that?
No, I have not looked at that.
Okay. I'm not saying it's any better. I just, when I Google, I find sometimes a billion graves as well as find a grave.
Okay, what I've found for this part of the country, all right, the upper Midwest, Find a Grave has the largest number of data entries.
Mhm.
USGenWeb has very few in this part of the country, but I have talked to others that find it very, very useful for out east, Pennsylvania area.
Does that
Well,
cover graves outside the U.S.?
I don't know of any.
It looks like you got family members down on the bottom of that.
Yeah.
Are those authenticated graves of family members of Adolf?
Yeah.
Okay.
They're all my siblings. And you probably wonder why I'm not one of those children.
Yeah.
Still around.
Because you haven't died yet. There's no grave for you yet.
No, that might be true. That may be why. Okay, but I was going to say I went in to get a copy of my birth certificate for a real ID.
Uh-huh.
And I put in my father's name as it is spelled right here, A-D-O-L-P-H. And my birth certificate, it shows his name as an F instead of the PH.
Oh.
Because I found some other people doing research and they only had my 5 siblings. They didn't have me, but different spelling of the father. Hey, you don't belong in that family, right? All right, I'm going to close that and I'm going to go back to my slideshow. If I can get this to work properly. I gotta find it. There it is. There you go. That's where I was.
Okay.
Right?
Mhm. Yeah.
Good. I like positive feedback. The LDS Church
Excuse
has
me. Les, the page before, could you talk about the one on the bottom, USGenWeb? I'm not familiar with that.
it is it's another volunteer group similar to Find a Grave. It does not have much data from my current part of the country, Minnesota, the upper Midwest. But I've been told from other people doing research that it has significantly more data from the eastern part of the United States. And I'm guessing it's when the project started and who were the people that originally started it and did that kind of stuff. I can find no other reason why one has more from certain areas than the other one. Best I can do.
There's one that's like specialized around the New York City area because both sides of my family were New York and there's big, big cemeteries in New York.
Yeah, try them and see. That's all I can tell you. I don't have any relatives out east, so.
Okay.
The LDS Church, the Mormon Church, has free access to their data. They used to only have it available if you went to one of the LDS libraries. And there is one in Green Valley, by the way. You can go to familysearch.org and you must create a login. It's free, but you still must create a login. You can store your family data online for free, accessible everywhere where you can get to a web page. The gal is coming back. Anywhere you can get to a web page. They have a mobile app for both Apple and Android. And if you're looking for an LDS church, there is one in Green Valley. It's, well, I think it's in Saurita.
Saurita, yeah.
It's local, let's put it that way. Another one that's free is something called Genie.com, Geni. And I'm not going to actually go to that website because I don't have much data there. But I did run a copy of the main page. Welcome, get the most out of Genie, except welcome Les Baki. It gives recent activities, and you'll see that over here is Ed Gerger, and that's how it's pronounced. And I don't know if you can read that. My ex-wife's grandfather. I've been married before I met Ben, just to tell you. But it will do that. It'll find matches for you, and the next time you log in, they'll be up on the screen. Genie.com and the LDS are free. Ancestry, of course, is the giant in most of the researchers' book of tricks. It is a subscription only. We have the US and international subscription. It runs about $350 a year, just to give you a price estimate. But as Mike said, sometimes they offer a free month, free 3-month, whatever it may be. And you can go in there. If you do that, just like with the newspapers, get your stuff together and make sure you have enough stuff to look up. Go out there, find all you can find, and go to it.
Les?
Yeah.
I did Ancestry a long time ago with a free month or whatever, and put in a lot of people and then forgot about it. And then somebody said, try 23andMe because that has more medical. Okay. But 23andMe found the information that I put into Ancestry, and it said something like from other public sites.
Correct.
So do a lot of them cross-check with each other? Or was that?
They do, and they did. If it was a long time ago, it may have been before they became really, really concerned about data privacy, because they were.
It wasn't a long, long time ago. I would say 5 years. Is that a long, long time? Not in our lifetime.
That's long ago. No.
That's a blink.
But if they share, they do. I know 23andMe's big thing is their DNA.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, that's their specialty, and that's what they do.
Yeah, that's how I found my cousins.
If they go and access other stuff, very possible, very possible. Whoops. Anyhow, again, like the LDS Church site, you can put your tree out there if you want. You can make it private or accessible. Anywhere you can get access to the web, you can do it. Does have a mobile app for both Apple and for Android. Would anybody like to see Ancestry?
No, I've seen it.
No? Okay.
Quite often.
My Heritage is another one. They're headquartered based in Israel, by the way. They have almost as much data as Ancestry. They have a huge database. And again, you must have a subscription, create a login, you can store your family online, accessible from anywhere on the web, has mobile apps for Apple and Android. Would anybody like to see what my Heritage website looks like?
Yes.
Yes. All right, bear with me. I'm stopped sharing, and I'm going to share, and I got to find, that's not what where am I? Okay, start sharing that one. Nope, it's not the one I want. Okay, I'm going to talk about this one first because it's a slide further. This is can you see this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Family tree.
This is a software application. It's called Family Tree Maker. Been around since the 1980s. It was an old DOS application, as a matter of fact. It's that old. And it is available for Mac and Windows, and you store the information on your PC. Everything is stored on your computer. It does go to, if you see in the upper right-hand corner there where the mouse, it can link it to an account on Ancestry. You can link it to an account on Family Search, the LDS Church site. And you get hints.
How many generations back does it go?
On my tree,
Well,
back to 980.
oh,
Oh, and that's because I was lucky and I got a lot of information from my distant cousin in Oslo, Norway.
Uh-huh.
But if you go this line here on the top, far enough back, and you just click on that and click on that,
Okay.
and you keep going, all right? If I go far enough, you'll see King of Bjornson, who was the king of Norway back in 1200s. It is really easy to use. These are the names, and I got to point this thing out right up here at the top. Index 9,458 people.
wow.
I got that many in the database, which is a significant number.
Yeah.
Right?
Mhm.
Now, any question? It's a nice application, very nice. Like I said, it's been around since the 80s. They've done some really nice upgrades. Price is about $39.
That's reasonable.
Okay, I stopped sharing that. I'm going to share now this one. Okay, I'm going to do family search. I am logged into the LDS Church right here. It says family search. I don't have much data there. I only put enough out there so when I do the presentations, I have a way of showing it. So you'll see I'm there, my sweetie Bev, who you almost all of you know, my parents, grandparents, and basically that's as far as it goes. This is free. This is free. They have a lot of data. You can do searches of records, of images, of family trees, and so forth. And all the people that have family trees out there and have shared it, you can search the data, which is true of Ancestry, which is true of all of these. All right. Now I am going to My Heritage. And again, the look and feel of it is quite similar. There I am. There's my father, his mother.
Did you have to enter these into each of these packages?
Excellent question. If you haven't entered, it is. It really is. And I always forget to mention it. So I'm glad you asked. There's a standard called GEDCOM. GEDCOM. It is standard interface for sharing genealogical information. So if you have a tree in Family Tree Maker, you can create a GEDCOM file and upload it to the LDS Church, or this one, My Heritage, or Ancestry, or any of the others. It's a standard interface. So you only have to enter them once, but you have somebody who has to enter them once, unless you find hints, of course, from other people. Then you merge that data with your data, and it becomes part of your tree as well. Good question. I like that question. Anyhow, this is My Heritage, and while I'm here, I'm going to show you. This is the web tool. Ancestry.com. And this is the family tree I have on there. This FAVANG is pronounced Folvang. There should be two little dots above, or one little dot above it. It's a small community in about the middle of Norway, not too far from Lillehammer. Okay. Oops, that one I don't want to show you yet. Oh, I'll show you.
Okay.
This is the next to last slide when you want to publish some information. I'm a IT guy, so I create websites. You can see the little dot above it, I think. Anyhow, from Volvang to Minnesota, and these are some of the people in my family who I put together a story of. I also got brief history of Norway, Norway to America, etc., that one could look at. And this thing down here, Marsh Grove 100-year information celebration, is what I was talking about a little earlier. Townships created and counties create books.
Yeah.
Let me go past that for a while. And they got early Marsh Grove. Actually, I wrote that for the book. Let me go down. All right. Hartvig and Mary Hansen Engen. They submitted this information that's in the book. So it's a nice little way of finding information, if you can get one of those books. And
You've been to Favang?
I beg your pardon?
Have you been to Favang? Favang, or what?
Norway.
Norway. Thank you.
Norway.
Have you been there?
No.
That little town, Favang.
No, I have not been there. But a distant cousin, no, not a distant, second cousin of mine was there about 15, 20 years ago and visited the family farm, still owned by family members, and was served Norwegian food in 100-year-old wooden bowls. He told me about.
Oh.
Now, I've shown you that one I've shown you, and that one I've shown you. So I'm going to stop sharing that, and I'm going to go back to sharing my presentation. Why can I not find what I'm looking for when I want it? There it is, right?
All right, yes.
We're back at My Heritage. I showed you that, so we don't have to talk much about that one. Family Tree Maker software. This is the software I showed you a minute ago. You can maintain it locally on your own computer. You can work on it without the internet. Ancestral Quest is the name of that same kind of software that's from the LDS Church. Again, it's a free download. You can run it on Mac or Windows. You can maintain your own family tree on your own computer if you are at all concerned about privacy. You can get hints from both Ancestry and Family Search. Ancestry, you must have a subscription, okay? Family Tree Builder is another software package that you can download and put on your Mac or your Windows machine. Same kind of thing about it. It'll find hints from myheritage.com and Family Search, but it does not give you hints from Ancestry. Just like Ancestry does not give you hints, or Family Tree Maker doesn't give you hints from MyHeritage because they're competitors.
Okay.
All right. DNA connections. Ricky talked about that a few minutes ago. Here is a couple of exchanges of emails that I got from a cousin, distant cousin. She said, my name is Marie Gullingsrud Reed. I have two brothers born in Thief River Falls, Minnesota, which is 17 miles from where I grew up. That's where I was born too. And she asked questions from up there. So I sent her the answers. And you got a thank you. It brings tears of joy to hear from you. Yeah, it makes you feel good, right?
Nice.
Okay, and talks about the connections there. Thunheim is the name that is connected through marriage to the Bakis. And not only that, one of the descendants of the Thunheims is now a federal judge in St. Paul, Minnesota. We went to school together, but at different years. He's quite a bit younger. DNA testing. My sweetie Bev is the expert on DNA testing. I am not. So I'm just going to show you a little bit about what the DNA testing does. You can read that. One is the DNA inherited from the mother. One is the DNA through males, and so forth. Now, you remember what I said that you should remember when I showed the ship record of my grandfather coming from Germany through New England, who we assumed was German. I don't know if you can read this or not.
Yes.
It says right there, Scandinavia. This is
Scandinavia, not German.
my heritage, right? Scandinavia, 78.3%. North and West Europe, 11%. And East Europe, which would have hit part the spot where my ancestors left from was right on the border between Germany and Poland, right about in there. Sometimes it was Poland, sometimes it was Germany, you know,
Right.
which is common in Europe. Those borders move around, all right. But I find it interesting.
Both of my parents were children of the person that migrated. So I don't never know if that's first generation or second generation. Anyway, my grandparents were born on the others over in Europe. Mother, 100% Italian, father, 100% Eastern European Jew. So I get my DNA and it says I'm 47% Eastern European Jew and 46% Italian Greek, Italy, Greece. I want to know where the other 7% went. Because they were such purebreds. I mean, you know, that little teeny piece somewhere.
Who did you get yours through? 23andMe?
I don't remember if that one was Ancestry or 23andMe. I'm on both of them.
Because my heritage gives the 100%.
Oh, no, it added up to 100%, but 7% was other.
Oh, okay.
Who knows what happened in past generations, Ricky?
I know. Well, way back, somebody was messing around a little bit. And got a little bit of some other DNA in there.
Okay. Here is the ancestry from, or the DNA from Ancestry.
Right.
And you'll see it's similar kinds of numbers. Although I got 2% Ireland and Scotland, you got to remember that the Vikings invaded both Ireland and Scotland way back when, as they invaded England and much of Europe. Went all the way down.
I didn't get that. They weren't this fancy when I was doing Ancestry, which is got to be 10 years ago.
Yeah. Ours was worthless. It said it was both of us. It said we were 100% Jewish, and that's all it said.
Oh,
Really?
Yeah. It was absolutely of no value to us.
Yeah, you knew that. Yeah. No, I was like 47.
We don't know.
Eastern European Jew and Greece and Italy they put together as one at that time. Because Greece and Italy are...
23andMe has similar data, but you know, it says here Scandinavian.
There's more Scandinavian here.
52.2 from Upland, Norway, which is where the little town is, but it's got a bunch from Sweden, which the other two did not. Whoops. And here, French and German is 5.8. In fact, my grandparents were German. It should be higher than 5.8.
Yeah.
A little bit of British, broadly Eastern European. That could have come from the German Polish area. Yes, ma'am.
You have to excuse me. This has been very interesting. I have to leave now, but I really am going to look into these things. Many years ago, I did a DNA test, which was not as complete. It was sort of scattered at that point. And it had Eastern Europe, and it had a Sephardic
Oh,
area in it. Now, I have never heard anything about Sephardic, anything Sephardic, nothing in the customs of my parents. My father was born in London, my mother was born in Russia. No Sephardic heritage at all. And I know the difference. And I just tossed the whole thing out because
Oh.
I didn't believe it. I have to do it again. Now you got me interested. Let's see.
Roberta, before you leave, there's one site that Les hasn't talked about, and I can understand why, but JewishGen.org is very good too. You
Say
should
it
check
again?
that out. Jewish, first word Jewish,
yeah.
and GEN, like generation,
Right.
JewishGen.org. And it's a volunteer site. You can go in there. They ask for donations, but it is volunteer and it is free. So definitely check it out because its focus is on people of Jewish extraction, and it does go back to the old country.
You know, Bill Leibson and I, when we first met, because my maiden name is Libson,
Uh-huh.
and his family came from London, which my father's family did,
Yeah.
and we've been calling each other cousins for years. And we were both sure we were connected. Unfortunately, I have very little information about my father's family, so we couldn't really make connections. But I haven't seen Bill in quite a while. I don't think he's too well. But I am going to
talked to him
look
the other
into
day.
all of this,
I
Les.
talked to him the
What?
other day. He sounded fit as a fiddle, at least, and he said he felt good. So, Bill
Good.
Leibson. Yeah.
That's good.
He says I'm a healthy 95-year-old.
Right. Right.
Yeah, and Roberta,
I'm
before
going to
you
email him
leave,
too.
Roberta, before you leave,
Yes,
consider
dear.
writing something for the BSTC schmooze. What
I
you've
have
been doing for
nothing
the
to
last
say,
3-4
Ricky.
months.
I
Huh?
don't do anything, Ricky. I
Oh,
don't
yes.
accomplish nothing because I can always do it tomorrow. So I let
Well,
everything
then
go
you can
today,
write,
and
even
tomorrow
writing
comes
that.
and I don't do it either.
Well, you can even write that because some of them have just been, you're just procrastinating. You got probably the rest of the year, the way this virus is under control. So you can keep procrastinating.
Okay.
And
Okay.
is that
Thank you,
cat all
everybody, and
black?
thank you, Les.
Okay.
Yes.
Bye, Roberta.
Thanks for joining.
Well, I enjoyed it.
Okay.
Les, is that cat all black?
Yes,
Uh-huh.
my kitty.
One of the reasons why you have an RV.
Right.
I know.
Okay. Share your stuff. It's no good doing all this research unless you share it. Share your tree online. Create a history website. I showed you that a little bit ago. Write a book if you want, and so forth. Now, the Pima County Library there, you can go in and use Ancestry for free there. I don't know if they're open. Are they open?
Yeah, I think they are.
Yeah.
I think you can't. I don't think you can physically go in, but they'll meet you and give you a book if you have one on reserve.
Oh,
I've done that already.
Okay. But I know in normal times, you can go in there, use their computers and get access to lots of genealogy research.
Well, they're giving you Ancestry on your own computer if you belong to the library. As long as you have a library card, you can use Ancestry from your home.
At the Pima Library?
Yes, through online Pima Library.
Okay, cool. Good info. That's our local library here. I'll bypass that. The Green Valley Genealogical Society is a very active group. They have their office or library in La Posada. Ignore that one. This is a group that I'm a member of, the Heritage Education Commission. I was a board member for a long time. We put on an annual workshop. And the interesting thing there is we have done oral histories. You can see where my mouse is, says oral history projects.
Mhm.
We've interviewed about 90 veterans and about 300 local people out there. And again, if you look at the story of someone who lived in Community X during the 40s, their experience is probably similar to your ancestors if they lived in that same community. And we're near the end, and it's, by golly, I did it in an hour. I like ending with a little humor. Great Uncle Bertrand didn't have a computer in 1880, so how will you find them online? And that's the last slide.
Very good.
Les, thank you. I appreciate it. I've been doing a lot of searching, but this was very helpful. Confirm
I
what
got a
I've been
whole
doing.
list of places to go now.
Yeah, me too. I got the same thing.
And again, if you want me to send you a PDF of the slides, I can do that. Just send me an email. You all have my email. I know that you do. So if you want that, I'll be happy to send it to you.
Wonderful.
I think
Thanks
you
so
have
much.
my email. Les, my email is my name, but it's ricky@latout.com.
I know your email.
I thought so.
Okay.
You know where to find you.
right.
Unfortunately, it seems like Roberta didn't log off, so
Yeah.
we're looking at her hangers.
Right. And when I close the class, she'll be logged off.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Thanks again, Les.
Okay.
When
You are
are
up
you
to bat.
coming? Do you have a tentative date yet for when you're coming back?
It's looking like late October.
Okay, you'll be coming here to the park first with the RV or just heading right home?
No, we'll just go to our house.
Where do you put the RV when you get home?
We store it down in
Oh, okay, so you
Nevada.
just drop it at the storage.
We store it down there.
Well, I knew that you had parked here for a couple days to clean it, so I didn't know if you were going to park it here for a couple days to clean and then store it.
Nah, we clean
To
it.
empty it out.
We don't clean. Hey, it's going to sit there out in the dust and everything for 3-4 months.
True. Well, you've got to unload the cats, at least.
Unload the cats, unload the clothes, take it down and store it.
Okay.
All right.
Well, let us know when you're going to be in town. And I think you should write another. You wrote for the very first schmooze.